Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Corey, live from Brooklyn, New York, my new home. This is the intro to rock guitar, and I'm starting with power chords. So, hi kitty. So that first thing that I did was kind of just an improv around this power chord here, and I was moving it around, and just anyway. So the point is that this shape is totally movable on the neck. And it's the basis of pretty much all hard rock music, punk music, metal music. I would call it like the mileage chord, maybe. It's very versatile. It's very widely used in all sorts of styles of music, not just those. But it's very friendly with a lot of distortion. It's very stable, stable shape. So in this little chapter here, I'm going to show you how to play it. So anyway, we're going to start, and we're going to do it's really two fingers. It's going to be, for now, your first finger and your third finger on the left hand. And you're going to take your first finger, and you're going to fret the 5th fret of your E string, and you should be getting this note. Now, as you wrap around the neck, you want to make sure that you have enough space. So you don't want to have the neck really low. You don't want to have the neck resting on your knee or anything. You want to be able to get underneath and have this kind of sort of a pinching connection here, where it's the back of the thumb against the pad of the first finger. So if at all possible, you're going to not want to play on your fingertips this way. I know that so far we've done all of our open chords, like your C chord and your G chord and those things. You've been on the fingertips because, gotta love this New York wiring. You've been on your fingertips because there's surrounding strings that you want to have ring. Now this is the exact opposite, where we're going to be fretting notes and we're actually trying to lay over the strings underneath to silence them, because as you strum with the right hand, you're going to want the security of knowing that as you strum this chord, that if your hand passed farther down, you would get all that silent instead of, if you played on your fingertips, you'd get all that stuff. Which actually sounds kind of neat in this case, but if you're off a fret, it doesn't sound so good. So anyway, we're going to try to adapt that approach to fretting this shape as we go along here. So anyway, first finger is going to be 5th fret on the E string. Should be getting that note. And then you're going to need to stretch your third finger over 2 frets on your A string. So you should be getting this note. So if that feels uncomfortable, check your grip, make sure that you're allowing enough space under the neck for your hand to get under there, nice and comfortable, that you don't have any sort of crazy angle this way with the wrist. You're going to have a little bit, but if you're getting any sort of sharp pain or anything, you're going to want to stop and check that and just make sure that you're not hyperextending anything. So you should be getting these 2 notes. Now initially what's probably going to happen is you're going to end up fretting them on your fingertips, because that's how your fingers are grown, through your practice. They're just strong in the sense of coming to a fist this way. But we're going to want to, keep them as relaxed as possible. Allow them to kind of lay over the strings. Now, me personally, in my approach to this, the first finger is what's leaning over the upper 4 strings and creating the mute for that. And if you lean too far, you're going to get that with the first, so you don't want that. You want to find the balance where the first finger is fretting the 5th fret note and actually muting everything else, and the third finger has a little bit of a luxury of being a little bit off the strings, depending on your grip and your hand shape. Now some people do this with the pinky instead of the third finger, and you might have caught me doing that as well in the song earlier. But for now, just use the third finger. You want to build some strength and be able to actually get this distance on the neck to stretch up. There will be instances where you might need the pinky in the future, but for now we're just going to keep with the third finger. So once you have the shape and you're nice and comfortable, try moving it around. You'll notice that it's a little bit wider of a stretch at the 3rd fret. Wider at the 1st fret. It's going to feel a lot different at the 1st fret than it did at the 5th fret. If you move this to the 9th fret or the 12th fret, you're going to notice right away that it's a little bit slimmer, but also the neck profile is different, and so it's going to feel different that way too. So practice this in one place until you get comfortable and you can do it, and then try moving it around and just seeing what you can find. Okay, so as you probably noticed, that this 2-string shape works pretty well as you strum and you played the shape itself on just the lowest 2 strings, because as you strum down, there's nothing above this note. That's the lowest note that you could play. Now you're going to encounter a problem if you were to transfer the shape, say at the 5th fret on the A string and the D string, because as you strum down, you're going to end up playing this string open on your way down to the A string note. Not really good. I mean, you know, can be good, but generally speaking, you want to be able to take this shape and transfer it perfectly onto every string set. So what needs to happen is we need to find a way to mute this low string. So the way that we're going to do this, and this again comes down to what I was talking about with not playing on the very tip of the finger but more on the pad, is that if you play this note now, so I'm at the 5th fret on the A string, 5th fret, 5th string, and if you play this note and you don't play it on the fingertip but you play it farther into the pad, you can actually take your fingertip, and as you play this note you can rub the underside of the E string and actually create a mute. So to exaggerate, you should be getting that if you do this right. And then everything else is still muted by the first finger. So really the first finger, it's fretting this note, the tip of it's muting that, and the underside of the first finger is muting every other string. And I know it's kind of a lame equation, but I kind of relate it to like if you've ever done bumper cars or like something like that, where there's that cable that goes up to the net on the ceiling of, you know, where the electricity goes through. It's always touching it, right? And as you move around, you're kind of moving around like that. Or like a trolley, the cable car, you know, is connected to the wire up top. This is kind of like the wire in your hand is kind of like the cable car. So as you move along, you actually kind of get used to this in a good way. I mean, you kind of start to feel like, oh good, I know that I'm blocking the string underneath. So initially, yes, it is a little bit of work, but it really it does help down the road, not just to sound good, but it actually helps with your own personal feel as you play. And yeah, that was the end of that tangent. So anyway, the point is for nice clean playing is that you want to be able to mute that low string and then fret the note that you want. And for now we're just going to work on power chords that are on these 2 string sets. So as you get to the next string set up, it gets a little bit trickier, but for now we're just going to deal with these 2. So that's the next challenge for you, is if you're comfortable with the shape and you can get the stretch and you know it sounds good, you're not having any sort of fret buzz. In other words, your fingers can get from fret to fret and they're nice and up against the fret, you know, then, you know, if you could do it on the low 2 strings, move to the next 2. Try it on the 5th and the 4th string.